I believe it was Turkey.
Oh yeah,
They
we
had
had nukes everywhere.
missiles and silos and like military like forces like staged out there, and so Russia was like, "All right, fine, we'll just hang out in Cuba." And then we're
We
like,
just hang out with Cuba, and
"Don't do
then
that!"
when
Like,
Reagan,
bitch, you're doing it over here.
not Reagan, but when Khrushchev and JFK talked about it, he's get those fucking missiles out of Turkey, and I'll take a lot of Cuba, and Cuba was pissed because when Russia left Cuba with their missiles, he felt like, wow, you guys fucked me over, and now I have to deal with America, and I have nothing to protect myself. Yeah, that was a whole situation, but Reagan just perpetuated that, though. Reagan put that anger and that angst against Russia. We fucking hate the Russians, but the Russians, we make our.
They were fine in the 90s, but we have good reason after Putin came in. I believe he gave us a good reason to hate them.
Russia
but like in the
USSR,
90s, it was pretty. They were chill.
When I was a kid, they were called the USR, and then all of a sudden in 94, 95, they just completely disbanded, broke up, and they were in shambles. Their rubles were like thousands of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy bread. So they're not, and it's still that way in Russia, guys. It doesn't change. Putin just makes deals with India and China to get weapons. They don't have any money going there. We froze all their accounts. So Russia makes $1.4 trillion a year in their GDP. We're at $34 trillion in our GDP. So, I mean, like,
yeah,
they're like
and 1 trillion of it goes to Putin. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a tangle web we weave when you do global politics. It's a lot going on. But I mean, do you agree that Gigi used to be in the military? You knew what you were fighting for? Did you know that Russia? I mean, is like pretty much significant. The only thing that keeps Russia awake in our minds is those nuclear weapons. If they didn't have that, we would own Russia.
Oh yeah, Russia. Especially you see that with like how operations were being run in Ukraine. Like,
yeah.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was in the military as well. He was like, we've been at war for the last 20 years, adapting to like new styles of warfare and things like that.
Uh-huh.
The Russians are still using tactics from the 1970s because that's like where they left off.
50s.
That's where they left off. So, that is literally the only thing. We go over to Russia to try to invade or puff our chest out, and they're just like, well, F it, we'll just bomb you, and if you want to screw us over anyway, then bomb us back. Screw it. Like, you're really protecting out with them.
Russia is, they don't give a. I mean, they have nothing to gain or lose.
Doesn't Putin have like dementia
trying to take over old territory, Russian territory?
Isn't Putin like losing his mind now right now or some shit? Like, doesn't he have like mental decline?
Well,
he has something going on.
They say he either has cancer or something's going on with him. But he has a whole bunch of different fake people. Like, there are people that he hires that look exactly like him. They even get the surgical procedures to look exactly like Putin, and they're just decoys. So we don't really know what's going on with Putin. He can't live forever. He's almost how old is Putin? Like 78? He's like Trump's age. He ain't young.
He looks great. He's like pushing 78.
Shit, he was 30 years old in the 80s. Losing his fucking hair, the little fucker.
That's fighting crazy. Bears. So I still have time to become my own Putin. I'm still young. I can move up the ranks.
I can still do what I can do. Anywho. All right, guys, but that's look, at the end of the day, the higher point on this, guys, is that Trump had a lot of policies in 2020 that did not do. The only singular policy that Trump has legislatively was those tax cuts, which are set to expire in 2025. Everything else was Trump fighting BLM, Black Lives Matter, fighting protesters when the women were protesting about their bodies. I don't know where that was a thing back in the day. And fighting everything Obama did for his whole presidency. He has no legislative wins, except for the taxes. And he had a full Congress of Republicans, and the House was Republican. The judiciary, of course, was Republican. That he had all three branches of government. He could not accomplish anything. He was so busy firing people, being on Twitter, golfing. It was a fucking waste of time. I'm being honest. But guys, what do you think about it? As we conclude our episode on Trump, did it ever want to make you learn how to golf?
I hate golfing.
I hate golf. I tried. Yeah.
But
your president loved it. This is his thing.
I guess we'll have to see. He was able to kind of like relax on his first term, I guess. As you were saying, like, yeah, like
1/4 of his term was golfing. 1 year,
and like things were able to like kind of like go okay. So, but like now,
we were in a pandemic, GG.
But no, I'm saying like before in 2016,
we literally lost like 1 million of us.
Like there wasn't much going on in the world. Now, I mean, like there was stuff going on, obviously, but like right now, like Ukraine,
he didn't have all three.
Israel.
He didn't have the House and the Senate at that time. He has the House and the Senate this time. I think it's going to look very different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's going to be very different. There's a lot of different.
He had the House in 2016 and the Senate, and they still couldn't pass any.
The Senate was Democratic at that point. They were blocking everything the House was trying to do.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I think. Can someone check on that?
Yeah.
Hey, a page.
It was. This is like a historic thing.
Yeah.
The first time that it's been like all three.
I think that he had everything. I think he had.
Well, if he did, then that's very Republican of them.
They did nothing.
They can't agree on it. Well, that's the thing. Like between, like you were saying earlier, to summarizing, go back to the beginning of the episode. There's no more Republican conservative party. It's now the MAGA party. Yeah, but the issue is there are still some conservatives. You still have people like Liz Cheney, even though she's now stepped down. You still have like those true conservatives who they're always going to be fighting. There's so much infighting with that group that even when they have the power of the House, they have 5-10 dissenters. You know, you have Boebert and MTG being like, we're not going to do this because you're not taking away little kids' food or whatever their thing is.
Call her the black congressman, a big bald
Jasmine Crockett. A bleach blonde, bad built butch body. That is seared into my brain. Yeah, no, but between their infighting, even when they have the control and the power, they won't get anything done. So if we can keep that momentum, if we can keep them fighting each other into this next term, I think we'll be okay. If they just keep on swinging at each other,
not getting anything done, and they're on the same level of the whole party's not getting anything done. They didn't get anything done in 2016 except for that tax bill, which he was able to pass because he had both chambers. And the judiciary, he's going to build the fuck out of that. And you already know that Samuel Alito, who's I'm not even going to say it, and Clarence Thomas, an Uncle Ruckus. I hate saying it. But with all that being said, he has the momentum in the Supreme Court to change those two positions to like 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds who will last for a long time, a lot of generations. And we did this to ourselves.
What?
I said that's to ourselves.
Yeah,
that's why I'm laughing.
Oh no, yeah, yeah, no, yeah. It's just.
What do you think about that? Did we do this to ourselves? At least put a libertarian in there. I don't even know what they do. What do libertarians do?
They like guns.
They're gun lovers.
We believe in like just honestly free rights, just kind of like being able to like live your life without government interference, essentially. So yeah, I mean, did we do this to ourselves? Yeah, I believe. Social media, but also like yes and no, because like, are we being manipulated by corporations? Yes. Are we being manipulated by corporations who are influencing politicians? Yes. But at the same time,
one thing to piggyback on that, G, no one can manipulate you to allow them to do it.
And that's what I was just about to say. At the same time, like
I don't know if that's true. I think there's always someone manipulating you, even if you're not being manipulated and you think you're in control of it. There's always something that's subconsciously.
You gotta be stronger than that.
But you only know
you have to be able to reflect.
Because you know it, because someone taught it to you, told it to you. You're always going to see the lens and perspective that somebody else has given you. So I don't think that there's any actual way to avoid manipulation in the end.
No, there is. I mean, you have to be able to reflect. Like you can't just take everything with a grain of salt. You're manipulated when something bad is happening, and you're like, like all of Germany during World War II, like that was manipulation.
We're just gonna put the Jews in the oven for a little bit. We're not gonna cook them. That's a manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, but it's on them to like be like that. This isn't right. Like at the end of the day, so